Welcome viewers. Yesterday, the Jewish leader David Ossip was brutally confronted by counsel that appeared to be representing pro-Palestinian groups with questions that were relative to wars that are going on the other side of the world, not with anything to do with Australian anti-Semitism, or be it national or domestic. So when equal citizenship becomes conditional is what I have made out of this. Can citizenship remain equal if some Australians are expected to carry responsibilities that others never inherit? Equality rarely disappears through legislation. It often disappears through expectations. Australian citizenship has traditionally rested upon a remarkably stable promise. The law recognises citizens equally. Rights are not inherited through ancestry. Responsibilities are not assigned through ethnicity. Justice begins with the individual. My transcript quietly asks whether that promise becomes conditional when international conflict enters domestic and national institutions. If one Australian citizen may be expected to explain, defend or answer for the actions of a foreign government because of ancestry, which is what happened to David Ossip yesterday in the Australian Royal Commission on Anti-Semitism and Social Cohesion, be that the 4th of the 8th, 2026, what principles determines where that expectation ends? This has to be confronted, because if they can go in there and ask questions of that nature and get away with it, which they did, then that's sending a message of division and the disintegration of the success of multiculturalism in Australia. Because the question extends far beyond one community, be that the Jewish community in Australia, which this is supposed to be about. It concerns the architecture of citizenship itself. Equal citizenship cannot simply mean possessing the same passport. It must also mean entering Australia institutions under the same civic assumptions. Every Australian should ordinarily appear before the law as an individual, not as a representative of an inherited history, not as a delegate of ancestral politics, not as a continuing custodian of conflicts occurring beyond Australian sovereignty. Once expectations begin emerging, equality quietly changes. One citizen appears before an institution carrying only their own conduct. Another appears carrying the political weight of another nation. The legal status may remain identical, the civic experience no longer does. And we witnessed this in the Australian Royal Commission into Anti-Semitism and Social Cohesion on the 4th of the 8th, 2026, when David Ossip was confronted with this. And perhaps this is the constitutional concern lying beneath this transcript. Citizenship is intended to establish a common Australian identity that transcends origin. If inherited geopolitical responsibility begins surviving migration, then citizenship risks becoming layered. Some Australians become simply Australian, others remain permanently connected to conflicts they neither directed nor controlled. So the issue is therefore not merely one of fairness. It concerns whether Australian citizenship possesses the constitutional authority to replace inherited political identity. If it cannot, the meaning of equal citizenship begins quietly changing, not through constitutional amendment, but through institutional expectation. And that's what happened to the Jewish leader David Ossip at the Australian Royal Commission into Anti-Semitism and Social Cohesion when what appeared to be pro-Palestinian counsel representing pro-Palestinian groups confronted him on questions that were completely and utterly outside the cause and the reason for the duty of care of Jewish people in Australia.